that was parked out there just happened to be a squad car.
One of your
nice.
one of your friends.
And he was none too happy. He started yelling at me because of the patch I had on my hat.
The Poppins patches, red coat patch.
Yep.
We got 2 red coats, Poppins patch, red coats, and we got 2 Spirited Resistance. Keep your rifle by your side.
And I just told him to lick my balls.
I hope you heard that because we're live. And welcome to another fantastic episode of Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion. Before we get started, let me first remind you that we are covered by the BIPCOT No Government License, which allows for the use and reuse of this podcast by anyone and everyone except for governments and the bludgies thereof. You can learn more about that at bipcot.org. That is BIPCOT.org. We're also covered by Brandenburg v. Ohio, 1969, which ruled that the government cannot punish inflammatory speech unless that speech is, quote, directed to or inciting or producing imminent lawless. I get it wrong. I need to go back and reread it.
It's directed to inciting imminent lawless action and is likely
inciting or producing imminent lawless action is likely to incite or produce such action. Therefore, everything said here on Anarchy Among Friends Roundtable discussion is entirely hypothetical. This is episode 179, which I did not name yet. What's up, Brandon? Brandon, he's a NorCal. He's good people. But yeah, today we're I don't know.
I hope, Brandon, I hope you end up in the same gulag as we do.
Possibly. Treatment Camp 1.
Yeah. I, for one, look forward to the intramural FEMA camp sports.
Right?
I watched Unbroken the other day. That was Japanese FEMA camp, but
so Andrew, for the track and field events, is one of them going to be the typhoid toss?
No, we'll have
Native American blanket weaving arts and crafts.
we'll have fence climbing and wire cutter manufacturing and
the sawdust bread bake off.
Yeah, we'll have hole digging, running, hide and seek,
horse apple pie contest.
Yeah, it'll be great. We'll have contests in like making spicy Russian cocktails 101.
The first one to dig a 6-foot hole doesn't get buried in it. I'm buying.
I was thinking escape. You guys are just getting dark here.
I'm too old to run.
I would say I don't run unless somebody's chasing me, but damn it, there would be people chasing me for sure.
Yeah, there would be people chasing you.
I'll be like Jeb's dad. Avenge me.
Yeah. We'll do I can teach classes how to hotwire a car. Remember, kids, U.S. military vehicles do not need keys. That one's the Magneto. Flip both of those. Wait till the light comes on. Push the button. Don't forget to take off the steering lock, however, because the steering wheel's locked. And I have heard tell of officers who hopped into Humvees, started them, and drove off with the steering lock still on, which went fine until the road turned.
I've seen a video like that.
Had to have been a fucking lieutenant.
I've seen a video like that where like the LT jumped in, the 2LT jumped in, and then the sergeant, the guy was back there. Hold on, wait, and the LT just drove off and went right up and over the berm.
Yeah, if you're the sergeant in that instance, you're like, wait, stop. He'll figure it out.
Wait, stop, don't.
No, this is gonna be great.
As he tries to go around the cul-de-sac in front of the headquarters building, goes right through the front door.
Parks on the general's grass.
Track down a couple of the E4s. Hey, you guys want to see something real funny? Watch what's about to happen.
Throw a bald eagle in front of him.
That was one time.
You know, Andrew, I really think Dave needs to turn that somehow into a patch.
It was one time.
Yes.
It was just one time, just a dead
Like,
bald
it was
eagle.
just
and
dead
like
bald
a
eagle.
windshield.
Bloody bald eagle.
It was just one time.
The bald eagle, just like it's like the lower half of the body hanging out the windshield of just like all you see is the top of a red car with a little blower engine. And just see, it was just one time.
You got to have the American flag bow tie though, because that really makes it the American flag bow tie in the back of what is very clearly a red third-gen Camaro, and just the back end of the bald eagle, very clearly dead.
You know,
I saw the video the other day of a trucker had a turkey come through the window and land in the passenger seat.
Oof.
Probably surprising to both of them.
It bent it bent the steel cowl over the
Oh,
yeah.
Oof.
yeah, that's
Yeah, it was very dead. It was very, very, very dead.
yeah. That was
Hefty turkey.
Guess what? I'm bringing home Thanksgiving
Hefty. Oh, why it popped into my head.
You know, it's kind of funny though, because like around here, you see vehicles that hit deer, and of course they look mangled, but you see a vehicle like a car that hit a turkey, and the entire front end just disappears.
It's
Yeah, how are they
the
so
plastic grill just poof.
What's that, Andrew?
How are they so fucking solid? Like, because I hit a turkey, because I hit birds with cars. That's apparently my thing. And when I had my little Honda CRX, I hit a turkey that shattered my windshield. And then
I'm seeing a pattern here, Andrew.
And then I got the car back, and like
You
a month later,
never ride shotgun with Andrew.
yeah. But then like a month later, I was driving. I'd finally gotten the car back with a new windshield, and I was driving, and I hit a pheasant that broke the plastic in the front of the car. And let's see, I hit a mourning dove once.
The only thing I've ever hit was a skunk.
Ooh, that's always fun.
I've told the story before. I've told the story
Yeah.
before. It was like 2 a.m. coming back from the hospital with my mom. I hit it, and it went up underneath the bottom of the car, and I didn't smell it. I didn't smell it at all until the next day when it was like 101.
Oh no!
Yeah, when I worked at the tire
we
shop, we had a
compared
car
roadkill
come in
stories
one time
before.
that we had a guy come in one time. He all he said was, "I think I hit something, and now the car doesn't drive right." Okay. Went and drove it around. We're like, God, what is that god awful smell? Pull it up to the outdoor hoist that we had for specifically this purpose. Crawled underneath it and looked. Went, oh, dead skunk laying on top of the muffler.
Oh, I bet that smelled fabulous.
On top of the muffler.
No!
Yay! Dead skunk.
Yay!
Nummy.
That's
Which
Fantastic.
coincidentally is the Wednesday special in the FEMA camp.
Hey, look at
Yeah,
that.
there you go.
You know, I was at a rendezvous once. I had a fur trader. It had rained that day.
Just eat around the bugs. You're fine.
But I had a fur trader because it rained that day and stuff. And a bunch of his furs got wet. And I was walking by, and he was like, "Hey, you know it's worse than it smells worse than a skunk." I'm like, what? He's like, "A dead skunk. You know it smells worse than that." What? And he threw it at me. He goes, "Wet dead skunk."
Yeah,
He was right.
that's a lesson you only have to learn once.
Yep. If you see skunk pelts sitting there and it has rained recently, keep moving quickly. Don't stop.
See, guys are like that
not
though.
roses. Those are not
Guy-
roses.
See, guys are like that though. Like if we were hanging out and I smelled something really bad, I'd be like, "Hey, smell this," and you guys would do it because man code.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
That's just. But like throwing a dead skunk at people, that's kind of messed up.
I mean, it was kind of funny. My mom laughed pretty hard.
Yeah, my mom would have laughed too.
I was
My mom would have thrown the dead skunk.
yeah. Well, I was like, man, I think I was only like 9 or 10 years old too. So like my mom just laughs at this random man throwing a dead skunk at her son, and that tells you all you need to know about my mom right there. That's he's like, haha, you're gonna smell
Am I
terrible.
assuming-
That encompasses everything.
Yes. Andrew, am I assuming this happened down in Prairie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that wasn't a prayer. That was back when they were holding them on Barren Island.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means.
No, it's the island in the middle of the Mississippi that's right off the coast of La Crosse here. So like you go over a little bridge, and then there's this big island that's smacking, because the Mississippi's that wide.
Yeah.
There's an island smack in the center of it. It's called Barren Island. That apparently my grandmother can remember when the Ho Chunk camped on. So
Lovely. Yeah.
She's that
Before the
freaking old.
city of La Crosse stole it.
Yeah, ours.
We're gonna put this gigantic park out here now that nobody uses because they don't want to get swept away in the floods.
Yeah, when it floods in the spring, it stops being an island and becomes like a causeway that has trees on either side of it for some reason.
That are standing in a swamp.
Yeah.
Did you see the video in North Dakota? I think I posted that like the
Like the dust
ANFAM
storm?
chat. No. I think it was the ANFAM chat. It was flooding, and it was like I-20 something in North Dakota, and like it's down to one lane, and the other lane has sandbags in it, and it's just water as far as the eye can see, and it's all like flooded cornfields.
Good Lord. Yeah.
It's-
Wisconsin's looked like that a few
It's bad.
times.
It's bad.
Down by Viroqua and stuff. Yeah, it's freaking
Yikes.
sucks, man.
It's no bueno, but
Well, that railroad bridge is not supposed to be in the water.
no.
Generally,
No.
bridges aren't. No. Kind of the opposite, really.
No, and submarines don't use bridges.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, most of the time, one would presume.
It's possible because there are more planes underwater than there are submarines in the sky. So it's possible
It's true.
that it could have been meant to go underwater.
Yeah.
So could you say that coming out of Chesapeake Bay, where they have the tunnels that go under the outlet of the bay, when the subs go over those outlets, are they technically using a water bridge to get between bodies of water?
Hmm.
No, because it's one continuous piece of water.
Do they become airplanes temporarily because they're higher than?
Everything's an airplane if you throw it hard enough.
Well, yeah. Anything can fly with enough force.
At least one.
And that's how the FEMA Camp Trebuchet contest was built. FEMA Camp Pumpkin Chunkin.
Hey, guards, come here. I want to show you something. Hey, look at that.
Punji pit into a sling for a trebuchet.
Trebuchet into a punji pit.
Well, yeah.
There you go. Have the punji pit as the target.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
you
you can have landmines on the outside of it. Like, you
Oh,
have,
God,
like, things.
what's the
See if you can bounce them
Is it
into the punji pit.
I think it's the second Rambo where it goes up to POWs, and they have like the truck pulls up, and the VC push out a bunch of villagers and make them run through this field, rice field, and like in the rice field is different landmines, and they have
Yeah.
to run back and forth for the sport. I don't know. My mind goes weird places.
Just saying, there's options.
There's options. Options always exist. Pedal races. Survivor gets a quick death.
And go. I just watched a metal detecting video where a dude, like, as a hobby, metal detects on the beaches of Europe and like
Mhm.
digs up the teller mines. Like,
Well, no,
why?
like okay, like,
they're left behind.
like if I'm metal
Why?
detecting, and like I'm picking up rings and keys and buttons, okay, cool. Like sunglasses, cool. Cell phones, cool. Coins, cool. There's a mine. No, I'm not picking that up.
Like, he goes down the beach because, like, normally he does like metal detecting on like World War II battlefields, and he's like, and people always ask me, do you ever find mines? And he's like, well, let's see if I find some today. Do. And it's like with a shovel, like just jamming it into the sand and digging up these 75-year-old
That's like
anti-personnel
the
mines.
video. It's like the video out of Ukraine,
The dude carrying the one mine off into the distance.
No. The video I shared the other day
Tree?
of the tree, the tank round embedded itself in the tree, and the Ukrainian sapper or whatever he is cuts the tree down with a chainsaw and just lets it fall
With the live artillery round.
with the live artillery round embedded in the tree, like 25 feet up.
Yeah, Vasily.
Ivan.
Shut the vodka. Cut 3 down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. It's a win-win though, because if it falls and nothing happens, cool. But if it falls and it blows up, hello, America's Funniest Home Videos, $10,000.
I was seriously hoping for the explosion. I'm like sitting there watching,
was too.
like, and then nothing. I'm like, well, this is bullshit.
I winced watching that. I winced. Like, I had to watch it a couple of times just to like really make sure I was seeing what I was seeing. It wasn't fake right before I shared it with you guys. And even when after I watched it, after I shared it, I still winced. Like, I still expected it to hit the ground and go off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You want to like have a serious anxiety attack. Like, you watch some of those World War II metal detector guys, because like they'll just like scoop up. Like, there's one where the dude just like scoops up by the handle one of the anti-tank mines, and he's like, "Oh, it's set on safe. It's fine," and like chucks it on the ground next to him, and like,
No.
It was like the video of the Ukrainians just like kicking the landmines out of the way. I mean, granted, they're like vehicle mines or whatever, and they're kicking them like hockey pucks.
Yeah, I got chewed out for that one.
Because
the older ones, if they're the older Soviet ones, they don't have any like safety or anything, like where if they get moved, they go off. So you can just walk up and just slide them off the road with the foot.
So, Andrew, if we were to have some of those around here, could we consider that spicy curling?
Let's see what happens.
Jason, get the broom. No.
No.
I'd rather
just
walk
to
across
fix that to the top of the Roomba.
No,
And-
you do a spicy shuffleboard. When the lake freezes, you make a giant shuffleboard and send them sailing. Because it's over water, right? That'll cushion the blow. That's how that works.
Yeah.
No, I'll pass on that.
What could possibly go wrong?
Government's listening to this going, that's a good idea.
Write that down.
And we go back to Brandon's comment. Hello, everyone, watch list friends.
If you were not on a watch list before you tuned in, you are now.
You are now. Well, it's like I don't know if you
Welcome.
guys have been watching Miles Rutledge and his trip to Afghanistan and stuff, where he confirmed that yes, they are in fact selling surplus all of the American military hardware that was left behind in Afghanistan. And he was like, I mean, if anybody's interested, you can buy an APC for $15,000. And and like he like listed like all of the
Shipping would just be
prices
horrible,
of like
though.
I think
Yeah,
I
but,
saw
like,
I saw a video like that on Telegram of like not like a Kaibar Pass market type of thing, but like a website, like an Afghani website, and they just had them listed like in whatever Afghani money is, and then like US dollars, and then in euros or something like that. It was just like M4s and nods and
mhm.
jackets and tents.
Oh yeah,
and
he said the panorama nods, they're selling them for like $350 because they have so many of them. They're worth as much as people's fucking houses. And they're selling like he was like, oh yeah, if you want an RPG, it's like $600. If you want, like this, it's like he just like listed all, and he's like, by the way, just even looking at this post, you're probably on a watch list now.
Oh, I'm already on a watch list.
Yeah, there's nothing new.
Well, and he brought back some of the Afghan war rugs too, and he's got those for sale right now on eBay. He sold off a bunch of the little Taliban flags too, and like flag patches, like all their military patches. He got a bunch of those, brought those home. He said coming through customs back into the UK was really entertaining.
Did you see the Afghanis? They're making women cover head to toe again.
Yep, yeah, they put it
And
back.
the US responded and said, no, we like, if you guys do that, we're gonna get angry with you. Like that's where they draw the line. That's where the U.S. government draws the line, is making women cover head to toe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like not anything else that they've done, not like the suicide bombers, not any of that. Like making women cover head to toe is where they draw the line.
I mean, I for one am shocked that the fundamentalist Muslim regime is not pro-feminist.
Would enforce fundamental.
Right.
Oh, what a surprise! Good Lord.
Yeah. Yeah,
I'm going to make women cover up. You better not. What are you going to do? You already lost to them once.
Right?
You know, write a strongly worded like editorial piece. Oh no!
We're gonna reinvade Afghanistan for the fourth time.
So help me, if you make women cover up, I will sacrifice 100,000 young American men for no good reason.
I will ship and abandon $60 billion worth of equipment.
I will redirect arms supplies from Ukraine to you. So help me. You better not.
Yeah.
God, like I'm with FPC, bro. We got to create our own extremely moderate.
Yeah, we're the moderate.
Our own
rebels,
moderate
man.
foreign militia, terrorist organization.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Anyone who doesn't follow them on Twitter, somebody called them a terrorist organization, and they said, "When does our check from the CIA arrive?"
Literally quote tweeted and said, "When does our check arrive?"
Yeah, and I said, "Oh, you guys are about to get a bunch of free military equipment." Ooh. And Jason replied, he said, I forget what he said. The FPC militia.
Yeah, hashtag FPC militia.
Yeah, and I said, we're the moderate rebels.
Extremely moderate.
Yes, we're the extremely moderate rebels. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh.
All
right, let's talk about an extremely moderate person. Let's talk about the reason that we got together today. And we wanted to talk about Randy Weaver, who sadly passed away a few days ago, confirmed by his daughter. Articles all over the place now about it, and not a single fucking one of them gets the story right. I'm going to put that out there. No, none of them.
Why would they care about
accuracy?
None of them.
The closest they got the story right. It was an armed standoff. Like that's as close as.
Well, not only that, but like the Reason article, Reason.com. As much as I fucking hate Reason for their slants, the slanted ideologue, not religious, not. You know what I'm trying to.
Just keep digging. Just keep digging.
I'm the number one female camp digger. I'm just
digging. Just keep digging.
The Reason article is the best one I found. Like the Times article, the Washington Post article, the Oregonian article called him a member of the Aryan Nation. The Seattle Times article called him a Christian. Was it a Christian white separatist? Like.
He personally wanted to be separate from everybody else.
From society. That's about as close to a separatist as he got.
Yeah, like he just was like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with you.
He literally just wanted to be left alone.
Yeah, I got it isn't on my truck yet, so I can show it off. My Feds Can't Resist Ruby Ridge custom shotties.
Yeah, I need that one. And there's a patch of that one too, isn't there?
Yeah, but they were out, so I couldn't get one.
Yeah. No, but I just want to do a quick on this article, and then we'll get into the other thing that we're going to talk about. But Randy Weaver died Wednesday, just 3 months shy of what would have been the 30th anniversary of the 1992 standoff that thrust him into the national spotlight. He was 74. So August 21st is the 30th anniversary of Samuel's death. So born in Iowa in 1948, Weaver enlisted in the Army at age 20 near the onset of the Vietnam War. He was sent to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where he became a Green Beret, but was never sent overseas. While he was home on leave in 1970, he connected with an old girlfriend, Vicki Jordanson, whom he would marry the following year after leaving the military. Right. So far normal. Randy and Vicky were each raised religious, but together they grew more radical. By the early 1980s, they were speaking of end times, warning that the government would soon be trying to kill all Christians, and exhorting family and friends, to move off the grid to escape the coming dictatorship. In 1983, the Weavers did just that. The family moved, at which point included Sarah, Samuel, and Rachel, left behind a comfortable suburban life to build a modest cabin on a bluff in northern Idaho panhandle, about 40 miles south of the Canadian border. So the bluff is called Ruby Ridge. It's above Ruby Creek, outside Naples. By the time the Weavers got to Idaho, their beliefs meshed with those of the racist Christian identity movement.
They didn't, though, which is why Randy only went to one fucking meeting and was like, nope, not down with this.
Yeah.
And then
during the 1980s, Randy showed up at some meetings of the white supremacist Aryan Nations organization. They went to one meeting, and they attended a church that just happened to have people that also attended it.
Yep.
It's literally the only church in the area.
Yeah, exactly.
One of these meetings, he met and became friends with Gus Magazzano, a motorcyclist and gun trafficker. Gus was actually Kenneth Fadley, an informant for the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms.
Because the fucking ATF cannot possibly do shit on their own. They need to try and entrap everyone.
By Weaver's telling, Fadley reportedly pressured him to illegally saw down 2 shotgun barrels. After initially refusing, Weaver, who was hard up for cash, acquiesced. Fadley would later claim at trial that Weaver had approached him.
Which was a lie. That's what we call perjury.
Why would someone approach a person they just met and said, hey, want to buy 2 sawed-off shotguns?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's...
Especially a person who is a fundamental Christian and has beliefs that the government is out to get people.
Yeah, it makes no sense at all.
Why would a semi-paranoid person?
Yeah.
And it's important to note that it turned out that both shotguns were still long enough to be legal, and he was never charged with any crimes after everything that happened.
He was charged and not
related
guilty.
to that.
When Weaver was arrested, the government offered to drop the charges if he would become an informant against the Aryan Nations. Weaver refused, posted bail, and then held up at the cabin. For the next 16 months, BATF agents watched the Weaver's home with surveillance video, sniper posting some more. Okay, that is inaccurate. The ATF, what the ATF did is the ATF said, hey, become a snitch for us. Weaver said no, and they said, fine, we're going to charge you.
Yep,
right,
exactly. Well, yeah, and not only that,
they gave Randy a court date, and then the public defender gave Randy a different date, and then the court changed it and gave him a third date.
Yeah.
Right, and so it was messed up, and then Randy didn't get the right court date, so he didn't show up for the court date because the date that he was told was a different day than what the court had on record. And then and then they called the U.S. Marshals. That's the thing. They called the U.S. Marshals because the Marshals enforce federal warrants.
Yep.
So it was not the ATF. It was the U.S. Marshals. So early in the morning on August 29th, 1992, 3 deputy U.S. Marshals came onto the property in full camouflage. No, it was 4 deputy marshals from the 4 U.S. Marshals that came on. There were 2 teams of 2.
Yep.
Armed with M16s. No, they were armed with MP5s. Sam Weaver then
full camo that didn't have any insignia on. It needs to also be mentioned that the camouflage they were wearing was like army surplus stuff. There was no insignia identifying who they were.
No, they're wearing good old woodland. Sam Weaver, then 14, was hunting with Kevin Harris, a friend of the family whom Randy had taken in when Sam's dog Stryker, they spell it S-T-R-I, it's S-T-R-Y, took off after the Marshals. No, he did not take off after the Marshals. The Marshals were throwing rocks at the cabin to incite the dogs, to test the dogs' reactions. The dogs took off.
Yep.
The dogs took off down the hill after the marshals. Kevin and Sam took off after them, thinking that the dogs had scared up a deer, and they were going to pop the deer for dinner. Took off after the marshals. Sam and Kevin thinking they were chasing the deer, ran after them. What happened next was in dispute, but Striker Sam and one of the marshals, William Deegan, was killed in the ensuing encounter. The Striker came around the corner, spotted the 4 marshals. They were hiding in the bushes there, started barking. They popped Striker. Sam said, "Hey, you shot my dog. Or you shot my dog, you son of a bitch." Took a shot, took off running. Deegan hit him from behind, zipped him with the MP5, went up Sam's back and his arm, almost severed his arm, killed him.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Harris raised his rifle, shot William Deegan, dropped him on the spot. They took off up the hill. Marshals took off down the hill and said, XYZ, Marshals under attack. And basically the FBI sent the world after them.
Yep. I mean, the FBI proceeded to bring in the National Guard. They brought in, the ATF. They brought in just everybody because
it was what was it? It was something like 2,500 federal agents that were there.
Mm-hmm.
FBI, HRT, hostage rescue team. The snipers were deployed.
Rescue.
Yeah, something like 5,000.
You are being rescued. Please do not resist.
Yeah,
like 5,000 pieces of equipment. Like there was so much equipment moved to this little clearing at the bottom of the hill that they had to rent Ryder moving trucks to move the things from the outpost to the area.
They had the electric company run new electrical lines so that their base camp could be powered, and they had the phone company run something like 26 or something separate phone lines.
Yeah.
To the location. That's how big an operation this is. If you ever go back and you watch the footage of it, you realize just how big a spread this huge base of operations is. And it happens in the course of a few days that all of a sudden this is that big, and there's armored personnel carriers and shit showing.
Yep. Yeah. And then Kevin Harris running back up the hill to the cabin encounters Randy running down. And hey, they shot Sam, and they take off back up the hill. And then later, Randy goes down, retrieves Sam's body, puts it in a shed outside the cabin, is a storage shed.
Shed that he still has. Well, had.
And they hunker down for the night. And then,
wasn't that the birthing shed? Because
the
they
birthing
didn't really
shed,
yeah.
No.
So, in the aftermath, the FBI took over, bringing in its elite hostage rescue team. In the process, the agencies severely softened its, quote, rules on engagement to what a congressional inquiry would later characterize as, quote, virtual shoot on-site orders. They rewrote the ROEs. Louis Freeh rewrote the ROEs on the plane from Washington to Idaho.
Yep. So what he got authorization for in Washington was not what he landed with.
Yeah.
Right.
With the rules in place, an FBI sniper opened fire as Randy was entering the cabin. So what had happened is Randy had gone to the shed to visit Samuel's body, to clean Samuel's body. And then as he was returning from the shed, Lon Hirachi fired up, took a shot, hit Randy high on the right side. Vicky opens the door, tells him to get running, and he goes running in there, Kevin Harris, and then Lon Hirachi takes another shot and hit Vicky Weaver while she was holding her 10-month-old daughter. The bullet traveled through her and lodged in Kevin Harris's arm.
Yeah. So and if you listen to what's his daughter's name?
Sarah.
If you watch, there's an interview out there with Sarah where she talks about the shed because they still have it. And she points out the bullet holes. Horiuchi took 2 shots at him. He took the one that hit him initially, and it passed through a piece of the soffit on the shed and impacted his arm. And it's probably the soffit that actually skipped the bullet up and why it wasn't a kill shot. And as he immediately reloads as Weaver runs to the house from the shed, which is probably 35, 40 feet.
Something like that. It's not very far.
between the two. It's not real far.
Yep.
Horiuchi takes a second shot that also impacts the shed in the soffit, and skips off. Then he reloads, and he actually takes a third shot, which I always thought was interesting, is that she points out there are 2 bullet holes, 2 separate holes in that shed, but Horiuchi only remembers taking 2 shots. And the second shot that Horiuchi remembers, which was actually his third shot, that one hits as Vicky is turning her back to go inside, strikes her in the back of the skull, exits through her face, killing her as she's holding her infant in her arms.
Militia.
Yep. And she had been, keep in mind, when she comes out that door, she's holding the infant in her arms, which means that Horiuchi, looking through that scope, knows that she is holding a baby. He can see that there is a baby in her arms, fires anyway, wild, trying to get Randy again, hits her, kills her, bullet exits, impacts their friend in the arm, which now is what, the second time he's been shot over the course of this?
No, that was the only
No,
time he was shot.
The first time he's actually struck, but it's the second time he's been shot at.
Yeah. Randy was hit once, and then Kevin was hit.
Yeah, and so now you have both of them bleeding, having been hit in the house.
Inside the cabin, with they dragged Vicky's body inside, and laid her in the pantry area, I believe. But a wooden floor, there's no running water, there's blood everywhere. And Sarah is quoted in her book as saying that she had to crawl through her mom's blood to get to the kitchen because they were afraid of standing up and silhouetting themselves against the glass, because they believed that the government was trying to kill them.
Which, to be fair, everything up to this point indicates that's exactly what they're trying to do.
The government is trying to fucking kill them. Yeah. You know, the thing is too, is remember that if you look at that cabin right up on the ridge, it's a raised cabin. So there's probably
a crawl space. There's a storage space underneath the crawl space.
Yeah, there's like 4 feet below it before you get to ground level. It's kind of up above the ground, which is pretty typical of a lot of cabins up there because of the snow and everything. But the boards themselves of the floor are just like laid together. It's just boards. There's not like a subfloor. There's not any of that. It's just boards.
It was a very rough cabin.
Yeah, so there's gaps in that wood, right? Which means that all of this blood is dripping through those boards.
No. And the feds were underneath that cabin. Like Sarah in her book again, or the book that she wrote with her dad. Like they could hear the FBI down there talking. They could hear they could hear people calling out to them. You know, and then
they try to taunt Vicky
with the bullhorn. Like on there's a guy out there on the bullhorn, like the lead negotiator or whatever, and he's saying, "Hey, Vicky, what are the kids having for breakfast today? We're having pancakes," and like they would say this like every single morning, because it was not reported. Like Alon Harachi did not report that Vicky was dead.
Yeah, and there's no way he didn't know if he was any kind.
FBI HRT, he fucking knew.
Oh yeah,
he absolutely knew.
But I mean, so he knows what he hit. He's not reporting it. The people underneath that cabin, which is why I brought up the gaps and everything, are seeing all that blood drip down through that wood. And they're not reporting that somebody's clearly dead. They're not saying anything either to anybody.
So, yeah, and it took 9 more days for them to come out, and it was Bo Gritz. Look up that name, Bogritz. Well known to Randy. He has a pretty good reputation.
He's well known to all berets. Yeah. He's a fucking.
He ran for president, I believe, on the Constitutionalist Party back in the day.
Yeah,
so he talks Randy out. But all in all, like Kevin Harris was found not guilty on all charges, and he ended up getting like $287,000 or something like that in the lawsuit. Randy got the government gave Randy $3.1 million. It was $1 million for each of his girls. And then Randy took $100,000. And he was found not guilty on all charges except for missing the court date. And it was sentenced to like 18 months. And he did, at the end of the trial, it was like 16 months that he'd been incarcerated. They gave him credit for time served and released him. And then the 4 U.S. Marshals in March 1st, 1996, they got the U.S. Marshals highest award for their bravery.
Their bravery.
Yeah, and of the 12 FBI agents that were punished for the actions at Ruby Ridge, the most severe one was like a 2-week suspension. And that's the same suspension that they would give someone for losing like a department issued cell phone.
Yep. And
later,
not only that, but Lon Horiuchi.
Boundary County, which is where this happened, the DA tried to charge Lon Horiuchi with Vicky Weaver's murder. And then William Barr, you guys should know that name. Bill Barr,
Attorney General.
Former Attorney General.
Bill Barr, Trump's buddy, walked in. He was the FBI. He was the lawyer for the FBI. Walked in and cited the Supremacy Clause of the Constitution. And the Boundary County DA was forced to drop charges.
Yep.
A couple years after, it was like 1997, I want to say it was 7 or like 1997. There was a new sheriff that was elected, and he made a point of running on getting justice for the family and all that. And they actually found one of the bullets in a tree that William Deegan had fired, and had DNA evidence from Samuel in it, and ballistics confirmed it was from the Marshall's MP5. So there's that. Yep. But they got an award for their bravery.
But at the end of that, of course, Lon Horiuchi remains with the FBI's hostage rescue team.
Is it Waco?
And a little bit later, he'll be in Texas at Mount Carmel, outside Waco. And will also be on the team that murders everyone at Waco.
Yep. But August. In August, we'll do like a whole episode on Ruby Ridge, and we'll get into all the gritty details. And there's a lot. Like we've talked about it before. I've written about it. That there's a lot of shit that went down at Ruby Ridge that is just fucking uncool on the government standpoint and aftermath of that. And
remember, that's 30 years ago.
And don't forget this happened under George H.W. Bush. Ruby Ridge was under George H.W. Bush.
And like I was saying, that this was 30 years ago. This was their resolve if you didn't abide by their rules.
Well, it was all part of Operation PatCon, Patriot Conspiracy. I mean, this is the same ATF operation that created a neo-Nazi group in Texas that was in nothing but ATF agents, just so that they could run guns to border militias.
Yep.
Right. This is the same people that there's a train. The same same operation that has hands in Oklahoma City. The same operation that went after those in Waco.
It's important to remember with
Moretti Militia in Michigan, and they were not a good organization or not a good operation. And in the end, only like 3 people were arrested, and it was all for minor crimes.
Honestly, has the ATF ever run a good operation?
No.
So, I mean,
no.
Well, I mean, that's good for us, I guess. Government ineptitude is always a positive.
Well, yeah, I mean, nobody.
That's true.
We always talk about that on the show.
Then we all got to worry about being CS gassed and flares launched into our homes.
That's why you have a gas.
I do not look forward to digging trenches in the FEMA camp, bro.
Like, I have no intention.
If I'm going to go out,
Yeah, we're not gonna make it to the FEMA camps.
No.
That's not gonna happen. But like we always talk about on the show, though, better.
The hell was that?
I don't know, something on Josh's thing. But there are
I'm next to a highway. Get used to
it.
Josh is the new mark.
Yeah, we all got sounds going. I had a helicopter go over earlier, but there are no better recruiters for anarchism than the government.
Well, yeah,
no one will ever push anyone better towards anarchism than the government itself.
It's just like that meme.
We've had that discussion before. Who radicalized you, right?
Yeah.
Like we've had that discussion before. Like if I had lived anywhere else than California, I don't know if I'd have the same beliefs that I have. So I don't know if I'd follow that same path. And
you probably wouldn't follow the same path, but like, let's say you lived in Wisconsin, living under Tony the Tyrant for.
Well, even then, I don't know if the steps would be the same.
No, the steps would probably not be the same.
Yeah,
I could be running for president or chairman of the Libertarian Party right now.
Dude, I almost ran for a Wisconsin Senate seat, not in the state Senate, but in the Senate for Wisconsin. I almost did that as a Republican before I started like my full-on path towards anarchism. So I just want to point out like that almost happened. And but seeing that, and when that was all happening, and I was talking to people about that, and and talking to people on Carly Fiorina's presidential campaign that I knew and stuff, and once I saw what was going on behind closed doors and everything with that was when I realized just how corrupt everything is. So even if you're involved in government, if you have any amount of real morals and ethics at all, you see that, and that pushes you towards anarchism. I mean, everything that the government does constantly will push you this direction.
Yeah, I want to read this last paragraph in this article, and then it'll segue into what we're going to talk about. Let's see. Did the Weavers harbor objectable beliefs? Sure. But there's a big difference between thinking despicable thoughts and carrying out despicable acts. Again and again, key moments of the Weaver story were catalyzed by government actions. The possible entrapment over a minor gun charge, the deployment of armed U.S. Marshals to their property, the haphazard rules of engagement that led directly to Vicky Weaver's death. We don't remember Randy Weaver's name 30 years later because of the things he believed. We know it because he was a victim of an overreaching federal government that can be every bit as dangerous as the groups it is allegedly trying to stop.
More so. I would frequently more so.
So, which leads us into the discussion that I wanted to have, and that was about folk heroes, organic folk heroes. Andrew's wearing a Popcorn Sutton shirt, right? Popcorn was absolutely fantastic. He stuck his finger at the government, kept making moonshine. Randy Weaver.
Tombstone says, Popcorn said, "Fuck you."
Yeah, there you go. Christopher just put on the Killdozer patch. Marvin Heemeyer, the king of fuck around, find out. Randy Weaver is another one. We talk about Ned Kelly. We talk about Bobby Sands there in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. These are the kind of organic folk heroes that stood up to big government or were overrun by big government.
Even more than Bobby Sands on Ireland, Francis Hughes, Commandante Francis Hughes, who was a completely peaceful farmer, basically. Like, he wasn't really anything. He didn't want anything to do with the Troubles or anything else. And then British, the RUC cornered him and beat the living crap out of him and beat the living crap out of his brother. And so he became a rebel, and a quite famous one.
Another one of those organic folk heroes, Rooftop Koreans.
The Rooftop Koreans, absolutely fantastic. Another perfect example, caused by government overreach.
Yep.
and the finest example of the use of a Daewoo K1 ever.
And like we as anarchists, like we're propagandists, right? We love the propaganda that is created by these negative situations that we flipped around to spin positively. And it's a hell of a lot different than the manufactured propaganda, the manufactured folk heroes that we have being pushed on us, right? We have baseball players and basketball players, and we have people like Chris Kyle and all that. Like, exactly.
He's such a dick.
Yeah.
He's such a dick.
You can even go, like there was just recently in the last election here in Wisconsin, running against Ron Kind was a guy by the name of Van Orden. And the most important thing he thought he had to run on against Ron Kind was the fact that he was a Navy SEAL. Woo! It's like, dude, did you write your book yet? Or
if you don't write a book about everything that you did in detail, can you really be called a Navy SEAL?
Right? If you don't have a tanning regiment, you're not a Navy SEAL.
Yeah, like in Wisconsin, there's I forget his name, but he was a state senator for a long time from Kenosha. He'd been part of the 82nd during World War II. I can't fucking remember his name. He wrote a book and stuff. My grandma knew him. But anyway, he'd been a state senator for a long time, and he'd been a soldier, and like that was his whole thing was he was part of the 82nd during World War II. And that's what made him a folk hero as far as he was concerned.
No, it's like Dan Crenshaw. Okay, Dan Crenshaw lost an eye. Okay, cool. What's he done since? Like it's an entirely manufactured status.
Well, look at talk about manufactured status. Look at the Ghost of Kiev.
The Ghost of another perfect example.
Or the Snake Island 13.
Snake
right?
Island, yeah.
Like, and it turns out that both of those are complete and total bullshit.
Yeah.
Or look at the president, the Ukrainian president himself. Like those images of him, like in his battle gear and stuff, was from a TV show.
Yeah, well, because he's a comedian. Don't forget, he's a millionaire comedian TV star.
The BDU still had creases in them from being folded on the shelf.
But he's on the front lines with his soldiers, against the Russians.
Yeah, or
he's on the front line. He's on the front line of the organized dinner with the other state heads.
Yeah, the stage photo with him sitting on the steps of that partially destroyed building or whatever, and then you see the behind the scenes photo, and there's all these photographers around him, and like realize that the building is actually completely intact. There's nothing wrong with it at all, and like
it's the power of propaganda, right? And you see people
perception and propaganda.
Well, yeah, I want to go back to what I said earlier about athletes, right? Athletes aren't heroes. Right. What makes LeBron famous isn't
putting a ball in a hoop.
Yeah. Right. And like, okay, he's done some cool things with the school and this and that. That was entirely a tax shelter.
Yeah.
That was a tax shelter. His nonprofit is a tax shelter.
Yep.
Oh yeah. There's who's an athlete. You know who's an athlete who's one of my heroes is Benkert from the Packers. Because he's
Kurt Benkert,
Lord like hell, and it is amazing.
Yes,
he is fucking. He's third string. He'll never see the field. He knows it.
Do you know how he got famous in Green Bay, Andrew?
No.
Do you know how he got? Somebody saw him riding a hoverboard down the street wearing a Halo helmet.
And
that's how the whole thing started.
See, now that's organic.
This is the way.
I am cool with that.
Yeah. Oh, Benkert's fucking great. But like, yeah, it's the problem is that people need heroes, right? They do. Everybody needs some person to rally around to coalesce and focus their team spirit and their let's go and their fighting idea, the sense of what's the French word for it? The esprit de corps, right? Like that's everybody needs that thing, that person.
To marry men.
Yes. Pray for the safety of our tax Ukraine. There's a video of one of the politicians meeting what's his face, Zelensky, in Ukraine. and like shaking his hand, and somebody photoshopped in the video a giant bag of money, and like he was handing it off to him. It's not money laundering, though. We promise.
No, it's not wrong.
Not at all.
But like everybody needs that, though. Everybody looks for those people to coalesce around. Look at the American Revolution, right? You had Crispus Attucks, the first martyr of the American Revolution, who hilariously, all of these like patriot, like white nationalists, like they all talk about all the founding fathers and the people who died, and like the very first person to die in the American Revolution was half black and half native. But
I mean, it goes back to the dawn of humanity. I mean, look at the Vikings had stories about the gods and their battles and stuff, and how they want to live
Ragnar
up to
Lothbrok
that.
and Sigurd Snake in the Eye and Harold Bluetooth, and they had them.
And that goes to every
Romans
culture across the globe.
Yeah, it's all about like finding that person to coalesce around, and it's not beneficial to governments to have those people be people who don't like governments. In fact, like 1930s, look at the folk heroes of the 1930s, right? Who were they? They were John fucking Dillinger and Babyface Nelson and the Bonnie and Clyde, and like that. Those were the folk heroes. They're still folk.
Well, even like in the Old West, Billy the Kid and
Jesse
James, James Gang,
and again going. I'm going to pick on LeBron again. What's LeBron talk about? What's he advertise? What's his beliefs on things? Right? He's a pro-China apologist.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. He's a pro-big government apologist. Like that's not something to look up to. And if you look up to that, well, that's antithetical to liberty and freedom and everything that I personally believe in.
Of course it is, because who pays for the team stadium? Where they play, the city that it's in.
Yeah, Los Angeles,
in the state.
Well, and that's and that's the funny thing. It's like, and meanwhile, there's those of us who have Popcorn Sutton T-shirts and have Bonnie and Clyde tattooed on their forearm, and
yep. And we talk about Randy Weaver,
Yeah, we talk about Randy Weaver, and
he's not a god, but I mean, like people talk about all the time. We like when we talk about in the Boog movement, we talk about people having gun ownership and standing up to the government. Randy told the government no.
Oh yeah, I was just
like he said no, and it came at him.
It cost him his family.
It cost him his wife and his son.
Yep, and his son, and I mean, like, and his peace of mind for the rest of his life. And
I mean, Popcorn. How many nights did Popcorn spend in jail?
Quite a bit. I mean,
a lot.
That guy got arrested a lot and didn't care at all.
Bobby, like to Bobby Sands, right? As part of that hunger strike, got elected, and then like was it like 4 days later or something like that? He died. Right.
Yep, he died on the hunger strike. Yep, him.
Ned Kelly was killed.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ned Kelly, I mean, folk hero, but also definitely a criminal.
He was like, the James
he was
Gang,
not a good person.
James Gang, they weren't.
Not a good person. Machine Gun Kelly, Babyface Nelson, Pretty Boy Floyd, not good people. John Dillinger, not a good person. Bonnie and Clyde, not good people.
Yeah, Uncle Ted. Jack said Uncle Ted. Like,
Ted Kaczynski,
fantastic ideas. His ideology is fantastic. When you read through it. Going about it is not really the best.
A good person. But
again, he's not a manufactured folk hero though.
Yeah, but
anytime that is, or anybody that is an organic one is automatically someone the government demonizes because it's not somebody they can control.
Well, not only that, but they're also never clean, right? They're never squeaky clean. They're never this completely innocent person. They've always got a colored checkered past. Popcorn Sutton may have murdered a guy at some point when he was younger.
Randy Weaver.
Randy Weaver, he kind of hung around with Nazis. He wasn't.
Koresh, I mean, there's some
there's some things, but like I was just talking last night. I was just talking about how in 150 years, if we don't get nuked before then, that's
a pretty big if.
Yeah. Increasingly after the announcements today. But
I'll wait for Flash.
Yeah. But I talked about how, in 150 years, if things go the direction that I think they're going to start, like the same way that we now, looking back at the American Revolution, point to people like Crispus Attucks and John Adams and Samuel Adams and and those guys, Thomas Paine, and look at them, that they're going to look at certain people from now and from the past 25, 30 years as people who were fomented the second Civil War, the second Revolution. And I think Duncan Lemp is going to be
Duncan Lemp, Breonna Taylor.
Nobody from this show.
No, if I shared that video the other day about, I tagged all you guys in it. Like, if I go down, put my vest on, fill it with Tannerite.
Yep. If things get too spicy, I'm just gonna blow this bitch up, man. I know it's what you would have wanted.
Like the end of Vikings, they put they put him on the horse and let him ride out there after he was dead. Just saying, I can be a decoy, bro.
Yeah, I mean that's
Didn't
the thing.
They do the
like,
same thing to Jax Teller at the end of Sons of Anarchy?
No,
He's
well,
like,
sort of. He was on a motorcycle
and distracted.
He suicided himself into a.
Yeah,
he was
you
still
get
the
the
distraction.
impression that his father had done the same thing, really, and that's what it really needed.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, but I mean, like, this is all, these are things, like, keep in mind that, like, folk heroes really matter, especially to history. Like, we talk in history, I'm a historian, we talk about specific people whose names we still remember. We still talk about what they thought and what they did and and how they lived, and like some of these people will matter for potentially an incredibly long time.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap, Forest Mommy's on.
Woo!
She's the best.
With any luck, she'll be in our FEMA camp.
Yeah.
Yes. She'll enjoy that very much.
Co-ed FEMA camp. There we go. So.
How could that go wrong?
Who said anything about wrong? That sounds very right to me.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I'm happy running a FEMA camp strip club, which should be a T-shirt, I think. Derica
can run the brothel. It won't be on Mars, but
I was employee of the month. I was employee of the month at my local FEMA camp strip club.
We'll dance for rations. No.
Is the Tabasco that you put in your chili bag spicy enough? Well, if not, we got spicy for you. Come visit with me.
Oh, 5 PBs for a PJ. But speaking of that, now we have to go on the article now about Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It would not be an episode of Anarchy Among Friends if we didn't talk about strippers at some point.
Yeah, we have.
This is a
sometimes it's just as simple as talking about Andrew's ex-wife, but
yeah.
You marry one stripper.
Come on, we've all already been.
It was one time.
Yeah,
one time.
One time.
That's
got to be a patch.
An adult film
Gotta be a
statute,
patch.
so.
To be fair, he always does learn from his mistakes. Ish.
Yeah. Las Vegas Jiggle Joint stands with Ukraine by auditioning strippers from war-torn nation.
Fucking Jiggle Joint.
I'm not kidding you. That's exactly what the headline says. I've
never ever heard a show called the Jiggle Joint.
I'm not making this up. That's exactly what the headline says.
Jiggle Joint.
I got your episode titled Folk Heroes and Jiggle Joints.
Folk Heroes and Jiggle Joint.
A strip club outside of Las Vegas is supporting Ukrainians in their struggle against the Russian invasion by hiring strippers from the war-torn country.
I fully support this. As I've mentioned on previous episodes recently, have you seen women from Ukraine?
The venue Little Darlings recently posted an ad on their club signage that declares, quote, now auditioning Ukrainian strippers. The ad also includes a Ukrainian flag and the words, we stand with Ukraine, written underneath.
I wonder if it's a 2-stage club, so you could have like a Russian stripper on one and a Ukrainian stripper on the other. And they could do like a burlesque show.
Mud wrestling, bro. I'm telling that would be just
mud wrestling.
That's how they should settle this. A Russian stripper and a Ukrainian stripper, fucking mud wrestling and jello wrestling.
How do you feel
Right there on
about
the border, just have at it.
Get Putin and the clown out there.
Hey man, how do you feel about the war in Ukraine? I don't know, but I'll tell you that my man Pats is definitely armed.
The club's manager, Pete Doherty, said they already hired one Ukrainian dancer who noticed the sign. When asked if the ad was inappropriate, Doterra insisted, quote, "We're standing by them. It's not anything derogatory towards them." He added,
Really
quote,
stand
"We
behind
feel
them.
like if we can help out in any way, that's the best way we can do it, is maybe help put someone to work."
I mean, I guess that's, I'd rather that than sending them billions of dollars worth of armament.
Hold on.
They'll make good money.
Yeah.
Hold on. Little Darlings is known for its eye-catching signage. In 2015, the joint posted an ad that said, quote, "Now auditioning the class of 2015.
I remember that. I remember when that. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
They're them. Okay. Nice.
Doherty said of the club's advertising practices, quote, "It's more of how far can we go? It's a job. We don't exploit women. If anything, we exploit men."
Well,
Hey,
yeah.
that's true.
So, I mean, if you're Ukrainian female and you're looking for making some money, there's a strip club in Las Vegas that's looking to audition you.
Yeah. If you're a Ukrainian woman listening to this and you're looking to possibly strip down, first stop at my house, and after that, go to Las Vegas.
Andrew will help you earn trip money.
Yeah.
I have a friend that can send that article
Andrew will
to.
just make sure that you're qualified
Yeah.
to
I'll give you
to get
tips,
hired.
pointers.
Yeah.
Remember my first wife was the
pointer
headliner
and tips.
at the club she was at. So
Yeah, Andrew,
There's
I'm
a
sure
no
you'll
way
give her
audition
pointers,
couch.
right?
yeah,
It's an
I'll give her
audition
a tip.
recliner.
I mean,
Tips.
I'll give her the tip. I mean, a tip.
What was that you were
Several
talking
times.
about earlier, Andrew? 36 inches and $60 or something like that?
That's
Double
awfully
tipped.
optimistic. I appreciate the compliment, but boy, are you way off. Dude, I'm Irish.
It's a potato. That's the real Irish famine.
Side note, whiskey in the nose does not feel good.
That's also what my ex said.
Don't kick shame me, bro. So
Yeah,
speaking of Ukraine,
that's 110 millimeter. He'll never lose.
Hey, 10 millimeters is all you need. Get the job done.
I got nothing.
Most professional ever.
Oh, this is what happens every time, though. Like we talk about strippers, and there's just a bunch of innuendo and double entendres. And
it's really too bad Derek is not here for this, because she would be having just as much fun as the rest of us.
Get better already, Derica.
Yeah, seriously.
So Biden signs lend-lease act to speed up weapons delivery to Ukraine. Andrew, what's a lend-lease act?
So the Lend-Lease Act is kind of famous. Most people know it from World War II, although it also happened during World War I, where basically the United States government gives equipment to a foreign power with the understanding that they will either pay us to lease it and eventually return it, or simply eventually return it, more or less. Basically, it's buying equipment on credit that can be just forgiven, where we just go, you don't need to pay us back for that. It's one of the things that kept Soviet Union from being overrun by Nazi Germany, kept the UK from being overrun by Nazi Germany during World War II.
Also led to the sinking of the Lusitania, didn't it?
Yes, the Lusitania was where I was going, actually, with the World War I. So the Lusitania, and this is why this article matters, the Lusitania was sunk by a German U-boat off the coast of Ireland before the United States entered the war. There was a bunch of American citizens on board. It's what really brought the United States into the war, which Woodrow Wilson had been trying to do for some time by then. Germany always maintained that it was a legitimate military target, that they had spies in New York that were aware that it was taking lend-lease equipment to the Entente, right, to the allies of World War One. America, Britain, they all maintained that no, it wasn't a legitimate target. It was just a passenger ship, and how dare you, you murderous bastards. Number of years ago, we finally found it, and we sent an unmanned underwater vehicle down with a camera and looked in its hold, and lo and behold, it's packed with artillery and artillery shells and ammunition, and is definitely a military target. But it pulled the U.S. into a world war.
Yeah. Oh.
Just like in World War II,
those who fail to study history are doomed to repeat it.
Yep, World War II, same thing with the convoys getting sunk, carrying military arms to Britain, drew the U.S. into the war.
Mm-hmm. So, President Joe Biden signed into law a measure designed to make it easier for the U.S. to send weapons and supplies to Ukraine as the country continues to fight off a Russian invasion that began in February. Quote, every day Ukrainians pay with their lives, Biden said. Monday, as Russia's continuing attacks, aiding that the legislation he signed at the White House would be another tool to aid the government of Kiev. The measure
Definitely
which borrows...
Totally not Nazis or anything.
Yeah. The measure, which borrows its name from the law that ended the U.S. policy of neutrality ahead of the World War II and stepped up support to the U.K. and other allies, cut some red tape, but does not include additional funding. Biden had signed separately asking Congress $33 billion aid to Ukraine, including several $1 billion for weapons and security assistance. Quote, I'm signing a bill that provides another important tool in our effort to support the people of Ukraine, the president said.
You're signing another bill to make sure that Raytheon and all the other military contractors.
Hold on. Give me 2 paragraphs. Hold that
am I
thought.
Getting ahead of you?
Hold that thought. Give me 2 paragraphs. The bill was introduced the Senate by a bipartisan group, including Texas Republican John Croyan and Maryland Democrat Ben Cardin. Biden last week promoted the importance of U.S. and allied weapons for Ukraine's defense with a visit to a Lockheed Martin Corporation plant making Javelin anti-tank missiles, which American and NATO officials say have been instrumental in stopping Russia's invading armored columns.
Actually, the NLAWs and Russia's complete ineptitude are the things that are responsible for that. And the NLAWs are not American. I just looked it up, by the way, the Lend-Lease during World War II, $582 billion modern equivalent.
Jesus Christ.
Sent,
was that all?
17% of the total U.S. expenditures. So think about that, how much the war expenditures were for World War II for the United States, that's only 17%.
So that tells me we're kind of still paying that debt to this day.
Yeah.
Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said that the U.S. has been able to deliver weapons into the hands of the Ukrainian government within 72 hours after the president authorized them.
It's almost like that stuff was already on the way.
Oh, my God. It's like we have a giant, huge military bases in Europe that can deliver it that fast.
So,
oh, my God. Nobody look at Germany.
Let's say, round it off, $40 billion. The annual budget for the Ukrainian military is $5 billion.
Yeah.
And
this isn't tax dollars, right? This isn't tax dollars. This is created out of thin air dollars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and just to kind of make that even more interesting,
which isn't going to help inflation at all.
No.
Nope. No, it isn't. And I mean, and remember during World War II, the last time the Lend-Lease was used, the entire U.S. economy stopped making things and started just making equipment.
No.
I mean, you had Louisville Slugger making M1 carbines. That's the point that we went to.
I just found out my uncle has one of those.
That's worth a fortune. 131 billion of it went to the Soviet Union, and 18.6 billion went to China, by the way. So that worked out well.
Oh, that's lovely.
Long term. Yeah. So that was a thing.
So to go along with that, what I was saying about the Ukrainian military budget, the Russian military budget is roughly 70 billion US. So the amount of aid in this lend-lease program that we're throwing at the Ukrainians is damn near the size of the entire Russian military budget.
Yes.
But don't worry, it's not going to cause inflation, and it's definitely not an act of war to get the entire country's military budget worth of equipment to one side.
It's definitely not an act of war at all. It's definitely not, poking the bear with.
On top of the fact
like
that
Finland,
giant fucking stick.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, Andrew. On top of that, let's not forget that today Finland announced that they are filing the paperwork.
Finland and someone else, right? Finland and
Sweden.
Sweden were going to, I believe, but Finland is the one that's confirmed that they're definitely going to do it. Finland, which has such a fabulous non-hostile, non-military history with Russia over the course of its existence.
Laughs in White Death.
Yeah, since won its independence from Russia.
CNBC 15 hours ago says that Finland and Sweden set to apply to join NATO, a historical move for the traditionally neutral countries.
Yeah,
lovely.
Yeah, and
how could that possibly go wrong?
So part of the reason, just to put this in perspective, okay, part of the reason why Russia the Soviet Union attacked Finland in World War II is one of its single most important ports is right up in the northern bit there, right next to Finland. And there's this tiny little isthmus that connects Finland to what was then the Soviet Union, right where St. Petersburg is. So Russia attacked them immediately because they had been invaded and kind of taken over by the Nazis. So the Soviet Union attacked them right away because of that geographic danger. A geographic danger that, in case you missed, like plate tectonics in school, hasn't changed since then. What do you think is going to happen if they're invading Ukraine because Ukraine was threatening to join NATO?
And now Finland and Sweden. And now Finland and Sweden are both saying, "Oh, we're going to join NATO too." How could that possibly go wrong?
How do you think they're going to take that? Do you think they're going to take it well?
And Turkey, who's on Russia's border between Russia and China, said it is not opposing. For
those that need a visual,
Sweden and Finland from entering NATO.
Yeah, and Turkey, don't forget, already is a NATO country, and already
that would be
thorn in the side.
Finland and NATO. That's Lithuania right below that, right? Or no?
That's
is that
Estonia and Latvia.
Estonia and Latvia. So on both sides of that little tiny strip of water would be NATO partners, and then you have that little tiny batch of coast in there that's Russian.
Mm-hmm.
How could that ever go wrong? Well, and then don't forget there's the disjoined portion of Russia in Kaliningrad too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want this to happen. I'm just saying, I do not want this to happen. It's absolutely fun.
Yes, Jack, you're absolutely right. This shit glows.
Yeah, and so will we all after the irradiation.
Yes.
Like I said earlier, smile, wait for Flash.
Fallout Ghoul.
Again,
shut up and take my bottle tops.
Yeah, take my bottle caps. I, for one, hope that I get to watch the marshmallows achieve perfect roastness before I get vaporized by the.
It'll be like that instantaneous, like 10th of a second that you'll get.
You'll see that perfect roast and then gone.
Yeah, but I'll have a moment where I can go, and then, and yeah, because we're in Wisconsin, and what's in Wisconsin? Volk Field. What is Volk Field part of? The American nuclear arsenal.
Yes, it's the one of the backup control centers for the American nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, San Francisco is like 35 miles that way.
Volk Field is about 10 miles that way.
I'm like an hour and a half from NORAD and like 3 Army
you're
bases.
fine. You're absolutely fine. Colorado's not going to exist anymore.
And Space Force. There's 2 Space Force bases here.
Space Force.
Space Force.
I want to throw out there that the Steve Carell show Space Force, it's fucking hilarious.
Absolutely glorious.
It is so hilarious.
It's definitely one of the funniest things that I've seen in a long time. But no, the thing is like this is what country, like, this is what happens when countries start confusing virtue signaling with actual like policy decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Where these people have become so insulated by their ideas that I can virtue signal people into shutting up, and I can do this cancel culture thing, and I can
to be
just
fair,
yell and scream.
To be fair, we talked about this before. Like, this was the plan.
Oh yeah, this is always the plan.
Yeah.
Because I've encountered people who I otherwise previously regarded as fairly intelligent and well up to date argue with me that, well, Russia's just trying to take something that doesn't belong to them, and historically,
what the fuck has the United States done for
the 2 provinces, first of all, yeah, but historically, the 2 provinces that Putin initially invaded, right, the Donbass region, the general Donbass region, specifically Donetsk,
or whatever it is,
and the Crimea, right, those were part of Russia.
They literally speak Russia there.
Before World War II, those were part of Russia. Those have been a part of Russia for a very, very, very long time. They still speak Russian. The majority of people there speak Russian. They have Russian heritage. And they had both declared independence from Ukraine and said, we're on our own now. We don't want to be part of you. And Russia was then asked to come in, which was Putin's justification, as he's going in to protect a sovereign nation from foreign invasion.
It'd be like Wisconsin invading, Ypres.
Well, it is ours.
That's the point. That's the point.
That could actually happen.
Yeah, it'd be like it's Wisconsin invading the Ypres because they're realistically true Wisconsinites. Wisconsinites. Okay, that sounds gay. So they're true Wisconsinites, and they're not really Michigan.
It doesn't sound any more gay than Michiganders.
I was going to say, it sounds gay. It says the guy who lives in the Bay Area?
Right? Well, I guess that would make him an authority on it.
I suppose.
Takes one to know one. I'm just saying. I speak on what I know.
Cheese curd supremacy, motherfucker.
And if you go to the UP, if you went just by team affiliation, the UP belongs to Wisconsin because that place is more green and gold than most of Wisconsin.
It's not yours. It's not yours, Wolverines.
Wolverines.
Not you, bitch.
Yeah,
it's ours.
It's ours. It will always be ours. It doesn't matter what anyone has to say about it. All right.
Give it to Canada.
We don't want them to have it either.
Dude, you don't understand.
I don't think they want it at this point.
The blatant almost racism in Wisconsin about Canadians. It's hilarious.
Oh God. Well, it's because we keep getting confused for fucking Canadians, and
I know. I think that's what it is. We're not Canadians. That's
what you sound like me.
I was once in a store in Minocqua, which is way northern Wisconsin, up by the UP, and in line behind me was 2 guys that I thought for sure were doing a Bob and Doug McKenzie impression. And then I realized that they were actually just talking like that.
That's like a number of years ago. I took my aunt to a Packer game because she had never been, and it was on her bucket list. And I had never 51st State of Superior.
State of Superior. Actually, I like Republic of the Northwoods. I think Free Republic of the Northwoods, and we just take northern Wisconsin northern Minnesota, the Upper Peninsula.
That
probably
entire
not the rest of
Lake
Michigan.
Superior
Deal.
Lakeshore.
I'm there.
That entire Lake Superior shoreline.
Yep.
Just
Yeah,
take that
right
whole
along
thing
there.
and
Down as far down as Highway 10 in Wisconsin, right?
Yes.
Anything north of Highway 10.
I'm there. Deal.
Yep.
But yeah, I took my aunt to that game, and it was against Atlanta, and my God, everybody around us sounded like they were from Escanaba.
So, all right, okay, I got
Oh,
the hidden article.
Oh boy,
This
Here it
always
is.
fun.
the one we
Of
couldn't
course.
prepare for.
Of course, if
I
okay,
don't.
As if we
who
prepare for
fucking
any of them
prepares?
anyway.
Seriously.
Well,
if you ever look at the
glance at the
information, if you ever look at the information on the YouTube, which I post before we go live, it's
look
there.
at information. We look at information.
It's already there.
Are you kidding?
Who prepares?
No.
This is the most professional podcast on the internet. Why would we need to prepare?
You expect us to look at him? That would require things like reading and
Andrew has never been known for his reading
Superior
skills.
Liberty Alliance, Northern Minnesota to Minocqua and the AP. Well, I think far south of Minocqua, like you'd have to go down again to Highway 10, which is like Black River Falls, which you've heard of if
Highway
you're familiar
10?
with. Yeah, Highway 10.
Highway 10 does not go to Black River Falls.
Well, it's like down that general
No, it isn't.
north-south. I mean, it's a little north.
Highway 10 is up by Eau Claire, you dummy.
Yeah, it's a little north of it, but I'm saying like that
All right,
general
okay.
area.
All right,
But
so
most people
this
haven't
article,
heard of that. They've
I'm
heard of
not
Black River
I'm not
Falls
going to give
because
you the
it's
headline.
Andrew.
I'm not going to give you the headline. I'm just going to start reading.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. In March 2016, Anthony Novak found himself in a jail cell for several days. His phone and computer seized by police. His offense? For 12 hours, he operated a parody Facebook page mocking the police department in Parma, Ohio, and advertised such fake community outreach events like pedophile reform, meeting, and a gathering with free abortions out of a police van.
Yep, I actually, as soon as you said Novak, I knew what you were talking about, and I'm like, oh, Jesus, this.
After several people contacted the station, police went on to secure several warrants. A warrant for Facebook, another for Novak's apartment, and an arrest warrant. He was prosecuted under an obscure Ohio law that prohibits using a computer to hinder police duties.
Because Ohio sucks.
Oh, a jury wasn't convinced. Novak was acquitted, his peers unswayed by the claim that approximately 10 phone calls the page elicited to the department caused a disruption in operations. Quote, the statute he was charged under was clearly aimed at people who intentionally clog 911 lines or hack an agency's website. That's according to an attorney who focuses on the nexus between free speech and technology. Quote, if creation of a pterodactyl department page really has the level of effect, the Parma Police Department should do some serious soul searching about what it's actually doing.
Yeah, for sure. If 10 people can disrupt your entire operation that badly.
10
it's
phone
time
calls.
to-
10 phone calls.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it 10 total phone calls? It's time to sit back and go, are we doing our job?
Yes. Quote, while protected speech could be evidence that a speaker committed a separate crime, the First Amendment bars its use on the sole basis of for probable cause. That's according to Judge Thapper, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit. Point for Novak. But for some of Novak's other actions, detailed his claim, quote, he also modeled his page after the department. Using the same profile picture, he deleted comments that let his page know it was an official one. And when the department tried to clarify that Novak's page was intimidating its own, he copied the official page's clarification post word for word. Literally trolled the police department's page.
Oh, that's
Put it more plainly,
trolling, man.
Novak's words were protected speech, but scrubbing words and parodying the department might not have been, according to the judge. The decision goes on to grant that the officers qualified immunity, which prevents state and local government actors from having to face civil suits for allegedly violating people's rights if there is no prior court precedent clearly litigating the fact of a plaintiff's accusations. The suit was therefore doomed. Quote, Novak has not identified a case that clearly establishes deleting comments or copying the official warning is protected speech. Because there's no court precedent saying that him deleting comments or copying the official warning from the legitimate police Facebook page, because there's no court cases saying that's free speech, the cops who arrested him for violating his First Amendment are protected under qualified immunity.
And this is why, in response to the qualified immunity argument, this is why there needs to be citizen militias. I'm not saying what they should do. I'm just saying that citizen militias.
FEMA 6 Wolverines.
I mean,
yeah, Wolverines.
Yeah, oh my God, it just. So this is another one of those cases of, because there's no precedent, we're not going to set a precedent because there's no precedent.
It's the same circular argument.
If there was a precedent, then we'd have to do something. But because there's no precedent, we don't have to do anything because we don't want to set a precedent. Because if there's a precedent, we'd have to do.
Yeah, but we refuse to set precedent because there's no precedent. Because other judges refuse to set precedent because there's no precedent.
Yeah, it's the same circular logic that the entire qualified immunity argument has been based on since its inception. And it's absolutely ridiculous because it's just the government refusing to hold the government accountable when the government does something stupid.
The government refuses to hold the government accountable because the government hasn't been held accountable because people refuse to hold the government accountable.
Because if the government held the government accountable, then the government would have to hold the government accountable.
That's right.
Yes.
See, now we all understand.
You don't have bypasses. That's just...
That's exactly what popped into my head.
It's so bad, man.
That's a Douglas Adams Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy reference.
Because he has not identified a case that clearly establishes deleting comments or copying the official warning is protected speech. Because there's no case that says deleting comments on a parody page or copying an official statement from the Facebook page, the cops get qualified immunity for violating his rights. Because no judge has ruled that deleting comments is free speech.
So the judge won't rule because no one else has ruled. This is another one of those, not it. That's what this is. This is the court going, not it. Not it.
Yeah,
that's what's going on.
But honestly, instead of having lawyers constantly be judges, they need to have citizen judges who maybe haven't gone through 500 hour or 500 years of fucking college to get these law degrees, and just have people rule based on common sense. Like, this is wrong. Guess what? It's not that goddamn difficult.
What this highlights, I think, is the inherent issue that we see constantly, especially in the 21st century, with government. And that inherent issue is that a bunch of old people, and even just government in general, even if they were younger, a group of people will never be able to keep trying to make rules, will never be able to keep up with innovation.
Yep.
There will always be innovation ahead of where you can legislate. That just will happen. Always. That's just always going to happen, which means that a government could never possibly.
That's why gun control is a dead
actually
argument.
keep up.
Yeah, gun control is dead because
will always go around it.
No.
Yeah,
so
like with the 3D printed thing, where they're like, well, within 120 days, we're going to say that anything made after this date isn't grandfathered in, and you're not allowed to make them anymore. Okay, but if it doesn't have a serial number, there's no way to prove when I made it, which means that they all just keep getting made.
Same with the 3D printed magazines here in California.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the thing is innovation will always be ahead of the ability to legislate. That will always happen. And this is why government trying to legislate things is inherently a bad idea. Trying to have a group of people in charge of things is always a bad idea because they can't keep up with what people can come up with. They can't keep up with this, especially in the 21st century.
Yeah, and you talk about the whole gun control thing. I mean, it's not that far outside the realm of possibility that the fact you can 3D print whatever the fuck you want could render absolutely everything related to the NFA obsolete.
So you're saying that the Federal Reserve shouldn't be in charge of inflation?
They definitely shouldn't be in charge of inflation.
Ever.
So a former Fed official warning that recession may be necessary. It's funny you bring that up because we talked about that last week, right? That they may have to cause a recession to fight inflation. Today we have one, a former Federal Reserve official warning that recession may be necessary to tame inflation.
Oh, look at that! They said it in another country, and all of a sudden, the United States adopts the same thing that we have been saying was part of the plan all along.
2 former Federal Reserve officials are warning that the U.S. Central Bank will struggle to tame the highest inflation of 4 decades without sending the economy into a recession. The critiques were made by the Fed's 2 most recent vice chairs, Richard Caldera, who until January served as the vice chair for monetary policy formation, and Randall Corliss, a Trump appointee who oversaw the banking regulation until the end of 2021. Their comments came as the Fed races to catch up with inflation, which is at the 40-year high, by aggressively tightening monetary policies.
Gosh, it's almost like you should let laws of supply and demand dictate.
Oh, hold on. I got one. I got to go in for a quote. The effect is likely to be a recession, given the intensity of inflation and the degree to which unemployment has been driven down. It's unlikely that the Fed is going to be able to manage that to a soft landing.
A soft landing. Intentionally driving, the economy is already in a recession. Let's not delude ourselves. But intentionally driving it deeper into a recession just to curb the irresponsible monetary policy of the federal government. God, that sounds... Why does that sound familiar?
I feel like I've heard this one before.
I feel like I've heard this many times in history before.
The last time that there was a big recession, right? They credited a world war with bringing us out of it.
Yeah, hey, look at that. Except we're already on our way out of it. And actually, FDR's policies prolonged it.
And FDR's policies
we're about to have a world war. Yay!
Yeah, I was going to say, and don't forget, Andrew, FDR's policies are half the reason why we're
Krugman somewhere rubbing his
going
nipples,
completely fucking bankrupt now.
Well, yeah, FDR is pretty easily the worst thing to have ever happened to the American people. What?
Well, the FDR, yes, I would say Jimmy Carter's in the mix.
Come on, mister, I was bitten by a rabbit. Hey, have some Billy beer. Yay, peanuts is not really as bad.
No, but then you have...
I just summed up Jimmy Carter in 3 phrases. I just want to point out.
True. And then you've got, you can't say that Joe Biden's, done any better than FDR because... Well, let's face it. Joe Biden
has Joe Biden really done anything?
No, I'm convinced that it's Obama getting his wish of a third term where he's the puppet master.
Well, I don't even think that it's
train says you're right.
That train coming. It's coming around the bend.
There's the 842, right on time.
Yep.
I ain't seen the sunshine.
It's the recession train.
It's the FEMA train. They're coming to get the
FEMA train. I'm stuck in FEMA prison.
At least you got to ride in one of those nice fancy sleeper cabins on Amtrak on your way to the prison camp.
Yeah. Hey, they're private trains, bro.
They're probably smoking coffee, government issued. And smoking synth cigars.
We don't need to beat that bush anymore, but let's talk about
the bushes have been beaten to death.
You know what I meant. We're not talking about Ukrainian troopers. All right. How inflation is changing consumer behavior. This is what I wanted to get to. We are already starting to reach the point of demand destruction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you're talking 7 to 8% inflation. You're going to get demand.
That's the official.
That's the official. I mean, it's more like 13 to 17, depending on.
Argentina just hit 49%.
Well, yeah, it wasn't that long ago. I think Turkey hit 50%, and there was another country that hit like 75%.
Yep. Let's see. With inflation now at its highest, spent 40 years, Americans start to feel the pinch, especially in gas and food prices. Naturally, consumers are adapting behaviors, eating less or eating even more often at home, trading down to cheaper products, and shopping at retailers they perceive as doing better on managing prices. Let's see.
Fun fact: the deer that you shoot in the fall will stay in the freezer throughout the course of the year.
Inflation highly concerned Americans. Almost 2/3 say their household budget cannot accommodate further price increases.
Yeah, are you kidding? Like, dude, I make not terrible money, not great money, but not terrible money. Do you know how tight my budget? Like, I'm at that point, like the dude in Taken, where he's like, my expenses are X, my income must be Y. Why do I care what makes up the difference?
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm already at that point, and I make more than $20 an hour.
Well, I mean,
I was
Andrew,
at that point in California last year.
I was gonna say, look at me. I'll tell everybody what the hell I make. I make $67,000 a year by myself. That doesn't include my wife's income, and we're at that point where we're
I made
looking
74
at
in California, and I was struggling.
Yep. Okay.
We're not necessarily struggling. We're stable, but at the same time, it's like we should be doing a fuckload better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Dude, I remember when you could make $14 an hour and you were sitting pretty fucking good, right? Like,
that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, when I worked at the tire shop, when I left the tire shop, I was making $13.75, and I was making good money at $13.75 an hour. And that was less than a decade ago.
Yeah.
Back in 2010, when I bought my first house after the 08 bubble, I was making 20 something an hour, and I bought my first house, and I was living pretty good.
Yeah, and now I'm making over 20. I'm making over 20 an hour, and the idea of buying a house is just a laughable concept for me.
You know, if we hadn't, I was going to say, if we hadn't bought our house when we did, we would be living in rent or in a rental for the foreseeable future, just because there's no possible way.
Yeah, 63% of all consumers say their household budget cannot not accommodate continued price increases. Let's see where to go. 80%
That's why
of
converted half of my livable space into gardening.
80% of consumers expect to change their shopping habits if inflation persists. Increased prices will see some buying fewer things, but are more likely to trade down to lower priced items, 35%. And others will look for 42% said look for things on promotion, and 26% that said that they would buy private labels such as like Winco brand or Walmart brand, things like that.
Yep. Well, I mean, we do a lot of our grocery shopping at Aldi.
Yeah. Hold on. I want to. Let's see. Is this the chart? These charts are so fucking small.
Well, that's what happens when you look at them on your fucking phone.
No, they're small on the site. It's really hard to see. Let's see. Okay. Total percent of population.
The resolution. That's why it looks so small.
Well,
get yourself some readers. You'll do better, Jason. I promise.
Let's see. Of that, 63% that said that their budget cannot accommodate continued high prices. 71% make under 50,000. 46% under 100,000.
Yep.
Okay. 61% Democrat, 67% Republican. So.
Yep.
So, yeah. There's.
And, you know, when you look at the numbers of people that are hurting extremely bad from all of this massive inflation and everything that we're going through right now.
Uh-huh.
I mean, as much as I hate the selection process, the majorities that the left currently holds, they're looking to just absolutely get shellacked, because if you look at the poll numbers out there, the top issue that people are reporting as though what they're going to be voting on this fall, or I mean, if you think that really matters, but are the economy.
Uh-huh.
And then you have the left that's continually doubling down on their intersectional bullshit, and they think that's going to be the winner.
Let's see. 33% said that the primary is they're going to cook at home and go out less more. 28% said that they would buy less items. 26% said that they would shop more at like a Target or a Walmart.
To about 10 feet behind me to the left is my chest freezer. In that chest freezer is 240 pounds of venison that was harvested.
22% said that they shopped at the dollar store for the first time.
For the first, really? Wow, I admire you guys.
Yeah.
Dollar store is fantastic for preppers.
Yeah,
they got those little 10-ounce peanut butters for $1.25.
Yeah,
Bro.
don't ever try to order anything in bulk though from them, because they'll fuck it up. I ordered 2 cases of picture frames from them. I got a case of picture frames and a case of big razors.
It's that Shanghai order fulfillment, man.
Yeah, I was just like, not picture frames.
But behind me 10 feet and to my left is my freezer. There's 220 pounds of venison in that freezer that we haven't been using, because last year when my wife was pregnant,
freeze dryer,
she couldn't eat it. Well, when she was pregnant, she couldn't eat venison because it made her sick. Just meat in general turned her stomach. So now that she's, obviously not pregnant, she's breastfeeding, we've been eating more and more out of that, and we still have over 200 pounds of venison in there. I mean, there's plenty of meat in it.
Quick.
Oh, we will, but we won't go through it between now and when season rolls around again.
Well, and how many times do we bring up like eatwild.com?
Yep.
Who should really sponsor us if any of you is listening? But eatwild.com, right? We bring that up all the time ourselves in our day-to-day lives. At least I know I do. We bring it up on the show, where it connects you to local farmers and you can buy directly from them, which is going to become increasingly important.
Well, and
I've been hitting a place called Chef Store. It used to be called Cash and Carry. If you ever read 299 Days, the book series, that's one of the places that Grant Mattson shops. It's a restaurant supply store, but it's not like there's no club memberships. So you can go in and buy it, like a restaurant-sized jar of spaghetti sauce, or you can buy like a case of spaghetti sauces at a discount. I've been hitting there, and it's just like, I think that's my future plan, is just to
but I mean, like, what's ridiculous, and what ties into this article is the fact that people who previously would never have done this stuff, right? They wouldn't have bought
firearms. That's the same with firearms, also.
Yeah,
wasn't was it like 38% or 48% of firearms sold in the past 2 years went to first-time buyers, and almost half of those first-time buyers were female.
Yeah, I've been saying for years that the future of the shooting sports lies in the hands of the women.
Yeah,
but I mean, like, what we're seeing though is, and it speaks a lot to what's coming, is that people who previously would never have considered going to a farm and buying half a cow, or buying an entire pig, or stocking up on beans and rice and canned goods, and who never thought about prepping before, and are suddenly starting to get into it, suddenly starting to do that and be concerned. This is starting to happen.
Well, and you got to remember, it's because of the way everything has been going, but it's also because I can remember having a conversation with my oldest sister, just as an example, where she had nothing to do with any kind of prepping. Like, she never had a garden. Granted, she lives in Minneapolis. It's kind of hard to garden in Minneapolis. But even this year, she has an urban garden where she has multiple tiers of barrels that have been cut. She's got a massive barrel garden in her backyard. You know, fortunately, in my area, I'm surrounded by Amish. If I need something, I can always go to the Amish and get whatever I need.
I heard a line today that said horse racing is just Amish NASCAR.
It's true.
Yeah,
I've seen Amish spinning donuts in snowy parking lots with their.
Last winter, Andrew, I saw an Amish doing a tow rope on skis in the ditch.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that one's fun too. I've seen that a couple of times. Yeah, there are a lot of Amish around me and Chris. A lot of Amish.
Which is fantastic because then you get places like the Amish Walmart where you can go and get just about anything you could ever want.
Yeah, and you can go and buy a jar of honey that's this big and that wide for like $6.
Yeah.
It's fucking fantastic. But the thing is that people
you can buy construction materials from.
Well, let's put two and two together, right? So inflation is happening. We have food shortages happening. We have formula shortages that are happening. We have gas shortages that are happening. On the East Coast, they're talking about diesel rationing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How could that go
Flying
wrong?
J, was it the pilot Flying J stuff? They announced that they were going to have to.
Yep. Loves is another one.
So, and we'll throw in the lend-lease to Ukraine, greatly increasing the chance, probably like doubling plus the chances of World War III actually happening in the very near future.
Yeah.
It's not pretty.
No, it's not. It's not a good look. If you have ever seen Postman with Kevin Costner.
Postman, yeah.
It's a very interesting movie.
Yeah, maybe go back and rewatch that.
Maybe you'll find your St. Rose in there.
Yeah, it's
I like the Postman. It didn't do great, but I liked it.
It's going to seem awfully familiar to you if you go back and watch it.
No.
Yeah.
It's that's where we're at, and that's,
we went to a dark place. I did not want to go to a dark place tonight.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
When you start talking about the economy and everything going on in geopolitics these days, you can't help but end up in a dark place because that's all there is darkness.
There's not much.
At this point, make sure that you have weapons to protect your family. Make sure that you know how to grow your own goddamn food. Make friends with the local Amish so you have or local prepper even to make sure you have access to reliable sources of protein.
Yep.
And
I found a book today. It was
don't be afraid of bugging in.
Yeah, I came across a book today, a PDF that if you ask, I will send you. It's how to start and train your own militia.
Nice.
Group chat.
Yeah, make sure that goes to the group.
Yeah,
I already know how to do that. I spent.
Well, I do too because I'm a knowledgeable person.
Yes.
But Andrew,
yes, you know how to do that. But I have invited you many times to go down to the farm and actually do shit, and you're like, "No, I'm too busy."
Because I'm really fucking busy.
Well, you can't create and train your own militia.
I'm trying to make enough money to survive until tomorrow right now. So,
honestly, if shit goes tits up, making money will be the least of our problems.
Well, that's true. But the thing is what it all amounts to is if you are just starting.
I can shake it like a Ukrainian dancer. I'll make money.
I cannot, but if need be, hey, $20 is $20. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. If $20 is
$20 is $750, bro.
Jason, it's not a dad bod; it's a father figure.
That's right.
Yeah.
Make sure she's got
the
daddy.
Point is,
makes it easier.
If you're just starting to prep now, you're already kind of behind the curve, and you really need to do it as fast as you can.
Don't panic prep.
Yeah, don't panic prep. Talk to people.
Sit down, make a plan. Talk to people. Figure it out.
Yeah. Talk to your neighbors. That way you all can work together on supplying each other.
You don't
talk to people who know how to do this stuff. Learn from people. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there. There's plenty of us out there in the public who know how to do this. We're doing this for years.
Prepper TikTok is actually pretty solid.
Prepper TikTok is absolutely
homesteading TikTok is great.
Yeah. Prepper YouTube is really good too.
Yeah. So like,
don't be afraid to reach out to us on our new Twitter account.
Yeah, we have a Twitter account now.
We're all happy to talk to you, help you out however you need.
It's Anarchy Among Friends.
So we are so professional, we couldn't even get the whole name.
Among FR.
Anarchy Among FR. And why is that? Because AAFRTD was already taken.
Anarchy Among fucking retards. Yep, that sounds about right.
Anarchy Among Friends. So.
Well, because we were caught by one of Lon Horiuchi's fucking sniper rounds. That's why I got cut off there. Anarchy Among
Yeah.
It's Red Mist. All right, we doing plugs? Plug time?
Oh, Pink Mist.
Throw out your coffee plug, Chris. Let's get that.
All right, so I started I'm working with the affiliate of Jeremy from the Quarterings Coffee Company called Coffee Brand Coffee. It's in the link in the description, and it's in the ticker that's been going by. I bought a couple of bags of his light roast. It's really bright because of the stupid light that I've got, but it's really smooth. It's fantastic, and I have found myself needing energy drinks less and less the more I've been drinking it. So get yourself a bag, use the link in the description, and you're helping to support me. So, Andrew. Oh, who wants to do talk about the giveaways?
The giveaway. You guys are running with that. Do it.
Yeah, since we're kind of spearheading it. First, we're doing the Poppin' Patches giveaway. So it's up on our Twitter. You have to like the post, tag 3 of your friends, share it. You also have to follow Patches Poppins is the official Twitter.
And
that is linked on Anarchy Among Fra.
The grand prize winner will get a discount code, a Poppins sticker, this patch right here that says Ban Fossil Fools, a Statue of Libertarian patch right here.
It's a Muppets, by the way, in case if you're listening. We go
and then I will throw in a bag of coffee to go with the grand prize. This comes out of my pocket. This isn't free. I'm paying for this. This is. I will send this out of my own pocket.
3 first runner-ups will get the Statue Libertarian patch and a discount code. And the second runner-up, the solo second runner-up, will just get a discount code. Throughout the week, as people are doing this, I will write down Twitter @, and next week, hopefully, if we have enough entries, I will put them all in my hat and do old school and pull out, our winners and announce them and tag them in a post.
You can buy this patch on Poppins Patches.
Yes, you can buy the Ed and Eddie. You can buy the ATF Red Coat, which is a fantastic patch. You can buy the one that started it all, the whole reason me and Dave are buds.
This
the
is
one
the
that
way.
I repped originally on
the Big Blue Shark.
The Big Blue Shark. It glows in the dark, by the way, so don't be surprised when that happens.
So you can also get
very
this
quality
one.
Patches. You can buy this.
I didn't know.
Okay, all right, let's get
the other plugs in.
Andrew, throw these in real quick so we can get under the 2 hours.
Make sure that you check out the Derica's book, which is Think for Yourself, Thinking Workbook for Beginners on Amazon. It's available right now. Make sure that if you want to care for your beard like a Viking, like I do, keep it shiny, soft, and it smells great. They have all sorts of new scents with their Platinum collection. You check out thebeardstruggle.com. Use code INKEDANarchist15 so that you get 15% off of that order. Also, I'm an affiliate for RK Spookware. So again, that 120-day thing, if you 3D print your own shooty boys, make sure that you get stuff for that's going to be metal and quality and manufactured by a quality fucking dude. RK Spookware, use the code or use the link in the description so you can get your shit. Also, check us out on Rumble, check us out on Odyssey, check us out on Mimi, check us out now on our new fucking Twitter that we have. Check that out, Elon Musk. Also, if you're watching the video and you see the flag to Chris's left shoulder, the Wisconsin Boogaloo one, that is from Boog Boogie 79. He does them for all the states. He does
So is that one.
Yeah, he does the one with the Boog stripe. He does the Boog Unity flag. Check him out. He's super fucking awesome. And you want to buy shit from him, I assure you.
And don't forget to support our friends over at FPC.
Always check out FPC.
Speaking
of FPC,
page.
Fucking hire me, assholes. All right?
Yes.
Hire me
All right.
already.
We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.